Hello, everyone. Welcome to the WCC Gaming in Place Challenge here with ESL Collegiate. My name is Paul and Varum Toddkill. I will be your host for the grand finals as we're witnessing Pepperdine taking on the University of San Francisco. But I cannot break down all of these plays alone. I need an expert color commentator to help me dissect these amazing moves. And it's the one and only, it's you, TJ. It's Thomas TJ James. Don't look around.
Where is he?
Don't look surprised. We brought you in, man.
Got it.
We witnessed the
Poor
semifinals.
man.
Oh, I know. No. It's great, TJ. We're glad to have you.
Yeah, we just sat through the semifinals where the University of San Francisco got here. And I was really encouraged to see what they were putting up. I was encouraged to see how they were taking team fights and the improvements they were even making between maps. It was obvious they have a strong voice on comms, be it a coach or a team leader who's saying this is what's going wrong, and they're making those adjustments. So I'm very hopeful for them, for my hometown favorites, headed into the presumptive favorites of the entire tournament in Pepperdine Esports.
Yeah, Pepperdine, I think, coming into this as the team to watch. But if the team fighting can continue to stay as consistent as we saw in that semifinal, I think that the University of San Francisco got a pretty good shot. Let's jump into our draft now for our first game in our best of 5 finals. Pepperdine on the left, in the blue, University of San Francisco in red, and a Diana band to start things off. That's interesting, considering we actually saw Diana played against K-Pulsar and crew over in our last game.
Yeah, I have seen, I was looking through, K-Pulsar has played a decent amount of Diana in the top lane, but it was a while ago. So there must be some data we don't have that suggests that Diana is particularly scary. The last time these two teams played, Pepperdine did win, and quite handedly, I might add. There was no Diana played by either side. K-Pulsar played his normal main of Shen in the top lane.
Interesting. And also interesting that they're actually opting to ban out the Trundle here, which is something that biggest jungle difference has been picking up with what's the Reckless Abandon? That's the one I'm going to go with. He's just trundling along. Not this game. We're going to see a different jungler here in his pocket.
Diamond Crevasse is one of the highest ranked players in this matchup on the jungle there. So I understand why they might want to target characters he's good with. Diamond Crevasse has played a lot of Trundle. He has played a lot of early game junglers, and he's actually got, in my opinion, the most powerful one right now in this Graves. So the strategy has not worked, and that is a very big pickup for Pepperdine.
Yeah, that's huge, because now not only have you wasted a ban on that Trundle, it's also a champion that you might have potentially wanted to have picked up yourself in Graves, just going with a marksman carry jungler. I mean, I like it, not your traditional marksman, but still. We are going to see the J4, though, a staple, a tried and true, all junglers are going to feel comfortable on this pickup, and then the Nautilus for support.
I don't like the first pick Nautilus. There's a lot of flexibility in support pools right now. There's a lot of flexibility in Kaga's support pool. If what I was looking at on his profile is correct, so I'd be much more interested to see them prioritizing maybe the weaker parts of this team comp. We saw some struggles in mid lane for Flo, get him something he's comfortable on, or we saw some very, very strong performances in the top lane from K-Pulsar. There still is a set available. There still are very powerful top laners available. I would have preferred to see that as well.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like maybe, you know, I mentioned it repeatedly in that semifinal matchup, how impactful I felt that Kaga was in that game with the Nautilus. But again, I agree. I feel like you could have held that off. You are still going to get your Aphelios pickup, which is solid, but going into a Taric Kalista, that's also a pretty scary dual lane.
This Taric Kalista is just, I think, the most powerful duo lane on the patch this was played on. And we never got to see it in competitive, but there was a brief period before the Taric nerfs where this was just busted.
Oof.
And Taric recently had his armor pretty substantially taken down, so it's not quite as powerful anymore. Certainly still a very strong lane, but you're going to see this Taric Kalista lane absolutely tear up down bottom.
Yeah, I'm a little bit scared. I'm a little bit scared here. The Aphelios, of course, can stand on his own 2 feet, but it takes him a little while to get there, whereas Callista is going to be dealing what feels like incredible amounts of damage from minute 1. So we'll keep an eye on that as these final bans are going through, denying the Vigar, which is interesting, as well as the Orianna, so targeting these mid picks for both sides, respectively, with Diana also being out in Syndra as well. So we're going to have to maybe reach a little bit deeper into the champion pool for both sides, and with Vlad being denied as well. Another top/mid laner we do occasionally see, so we'll definitely clamping down on that mage pool a bit.
Interesting. A lot of target towards top lane, a lot of target towards K-Pulsar from Pepperdine, and I was kind of expecting that they prioritize K-Pulsar in the draft earlier, but they're still able to pick him up a set, it looks like, in the R4 position, so maybe they were right all along, and nothing matters, because Set, again, in these collegiate drafts, I think is slipping far too late. I think Set is very powerful right now. Sure, he's not as powerful as he once was, but he can still absolutely win top lane against most characters.
To be fair, TJ, he went from too powerful to just powerful, so, good. We'll see. No, it's still a great pick. I mean, we've seen Set in the hands of K-Pulsar, so we know what that can do.
This Echo from Windchill was played in the mid lane for Windchill last time these two teams faced. I see he's been shuffled around in the lobby order, which makes me think maybe he's changed position. I don't know, but it was very, very good on Windchill in the mid lane the last time these two teams faced.
Yeah, so maybe just slightly out of order here in the lobby, or maybe a little bit of a switch up there. I think that Echo still will go mid. I think the Aatrox will go top. Aatrox Set. Gosh, I feel like I've never seen that matchup ever. TJ, wait, no, never mind. That was every single game in LCS for a long stretch. Lissandra going to be the last lock-in here for Flo. We've seen him play that as well, with, I would say, solid success. I think his positioning could use a touch of work, but this is definitely an opportunity for him to look to improve that. I think he'll get punished. I think he will,
We saw the Lissandra overstepping, and Echo is the kind of character that can absolutely punish a Lissandra who walks a little bit too far forward. If Santomasi plays this well and Flo plays the same, that's going to be a really rough mid lane. Scott is playing the answer to the set of K-Pulsar in the top lane. Aatrox just is very hard to knock out of the game, so he's very capable of laning against a set. And then you still have that Graves, which I think is unanswered. And if Diamond Crevasse can find similar success to what he found throughout this entire season, he's going to be the linchpin that launches this victory for Pepperdine. And then you just have this really solid bot lane that I'm excited to see play at the peak of its power in that Callista Taric from Windchill and Evan Cakes.
Yeah, I don't think this is a blowout in either direction. I definitely favor the draft of Pepperdine here. And when you favor the draft of the team that was, well, favorited coming into this, that's probably not an amazing combination of things to happen. You need to win the draft if you're the University of San Francisco, and I don't think they've done that here.
Flo is taking some risks right off the bat, but we're fine. Warding the blue buff there does give valuable information. They now know that it's a red side start for Pepperdine. I don't know how you invest that knowledge, though, because it hasn't stopped them from pushing very aggressive down bottom, and that's where it would be most punishable right off the bat. So they don't seem to have gotten anything for that risk.
No, I mean, again, wasn't punished and wasn't punished. So
vertical jungle.
Yeah, vertical jungle coming in here as well, and we're going to see a potential, a little bit of excitement around this blue buff here. Over on the side of the University of San Francisco, Diamond Crevasse should not overpressure here. Graves at this point, only level 2. Oh boy.
He's playing Graves though, you know?
Yeah, I do know. When Flag and Drag's now burned. Yeah, the QE's now.
Oh, he's gonna do it.
Oh, he is going to try. Oh.
Tragic.
It's a disaster.
They still have this presence though. He's still bullying jungle difference. This is absurd from Pepperdine. This is just confidence, and I do really appreciate it. I mean, this shouldn't be happening.
This says a lot. This says a lot. This says more. Oh, this says more about the team than I guess anything else really at this point. No amount of, potential trash talk in chat could say more about the mindset of Pepperdine going into this. This is a team that knows they're the favorite and is playing like it. Challenging the University of San Francisco to say, hey, we're gonna poke you. We're gonna poke you. You gonna do anything about it?
No, nothing. And this is just by, as I highlighted in the beginning, them having that early ward onto blue buff. They knew it was a red side start from Diamond Crevasse. And the second he starts pressing your buff, you, I think, want to be taking advantage of that vision, seeing if you can get away with an invade. We are going to have that invade coming through late. There's going to be a skirmish here on the river.
There is Graves doing a decent amount of damage there, but, J4 with a red and blue buff respectively can look to potentially retaliate.
Double scuttled him.
Yeah. Oh my
Two crabs picked up by Diamond Crevasse here.
Oh, that's huge. You got the wow. So not only are you stealing your opponent's jungle, you're getting double scuttle. That is an oppressively strong start from the Graves. And, of any of the junglers in the meta right now, maybe Kindred, but Graves loves his farm.
Yeah. I mean, just look at the numbers. Already 8 CS ahead at the 4-minute mark. A very, very strong start for Diamond Crevasse.
And I feel like...
And I said the Graves was going to be unanswered in this matchup. I hold to that. That is going to be the launch pad for the rest of the game if they're not careful on University of San Francisco.
And that was really the point I wanted to reiterate. This is something you brought up in draft, is that mechanically on paper, in terms of just raw elo, this... jungle player is one of the highest or the highest in the game. And then you also put him on an unanswered, strong champion pick. So you put your best player, one of your best players, on one of the best champion picks for the setup. I mean, that's a match made in heaven. That is exactly what you want. So now the question becomes, can the University of San Francisco find the openings elsewhere, punish elsewhere, keep themselves in this game? Given what we've seen in that semifinal matchup up against the University of the Pacific, I know this team can do it. I just need to see them execute here on the day.
I do want to mention, just for you, because I was looking through my notes and I made a special note of this.
Oh.
Just for you, because I know it'll make you happy. Evan Cakes is a new player. He's been swapped in that support role. I don't know when in the season that happened, but during the regular season, they were playing with Santo Massi, tagged as their mid player, and then Dragon King Hots as their support player. And I know that you used to cast Heroes of the Storm, so I was wondering if Dragon King was a name you recognized.
It's ringing a slight bell in the back of my head. That could just be because it's a cool name. Who doesn't want to be a Dragon King? But I do appreciate that, making the transition over here to League of Legends.
Well, he got dropped, so,
Well, look, even better, because if I'm being fully honest, that's not the mechanical difference. Okay, up top, K-Pulsar, I see you, sir. That's the space that I wanted to see created elsewhere. Thank you, sir. Thank you for answering. But if I'm being honest, of that mechanical transition, it's definitely easy. It's definitely harder to go from Heroes of the Storm to League of Legends. But in any case, nice pickup there to start things off for the University of San Francisco.
Flame,
look,
good flame, Paul. I'm happy that you're still.
It's already in the grave, TJ. There's nothing more I can do.
Didn't have to grab a shovel. Early presence in the jungle is being maintained here, even as that top lane pick does go to K-Pulsar, and I did highlight the importance of putting K-Pulsar on a strong character. That early pick isn't going to push Aatrox out of lane, because it's very difficult to do that, so there's no especially tangible benefit to that. It's just kind of undoing the CS lead that Scott was pushing up there. And Diamond Crevasse, in the meantime, is still free-farming both jungles.
That's not ideal. I wouldn't consider that ideal. At least, again, First Blood is still going over the way of the University of San Francisco here. Scott is going to need to play this. I don't even want to say defensively, because you just can't play defensively against a set. You need to be able to trade and hold your own, or else you're just going to get absolutely bullied out of lane.
I mean, he has been fighting K-Pulsar very, very aggressively so far.
Yep.
That's where that CS lead you can see comes from. The Aatrox kind of functionally outranges the set in almost every ability exchange, which makes it very frustrating as a set to play in this matchup. But if you can get in range and land the full combo, it feels pretty good.
It does. When you're able to just line up all those abilities, maybe even Just if you can get the center of that punch, you just get that additional boost of damage if you can line everything up. It's, again, tough to do against Aatrox. He's just got a lot of mobility built into the kit. Whether it be with the dash, with the Darkened Blade, you just proc that Q. But that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. If he's going to blow it aggressively. Okay. We already see the flash committed, though, from Diamond Crevasse. Oh!
The movement! K-Pulsar stays alive. It should not save him. Santomasi's hunting for him here.
No. And he's going to be fine. He's going to be more than fine, TJ. He picked himself up a kill. And now, he's just continuing to add to this lead that he's building for himself in the top lane.
Very well played by K-Pulsar. Ulting away from the gank that he had to suspect was coming. And just running past the turret. That'll be rewarded for University of San Francisco. They invest all that presence up top that Pepperdine responded to by rotating their players up to try and catch that kill. They get a Drake because of it. That's very big. We put a lot of hype in the draft phase around this turret Kalista lane, and that sort of thing is going to start to add up for Spirit Tracks, because the longer this game goes on, the more likely San Francisco's star ADC is going to be able to get online on the affiliates.
Yeah, and it has been a very, very quiet bottom lane so far. It seems like the top lane has sort of been the star of the show. But like you mentioned before, that Aphelios, if he gets into the late game, no one can stop him. He just can go absolutely off, can dominate in those late game scenarios when he gets even 2-3 items.
It's not as bad as it once was.
Well, it's true. That's true. Again, going from too powerful to just powerful, the set experience. As we are seeing another potential scuffle up in the top towards the river. But yeah, no, solid rotations. The communication from both these teams, it seems really tight, TJ.
Yeah, that was a fun gank they were trying to set up around K-Pulsar. If I had to criticize, I would say the biggest jungle difference doesn't have the kit to tie down an Aatrox. So without a bigger mistake being made by Scott, I don't know that fighting that is positive. But they do get some free damage. Diamond Crevasse has to stop farming in order to rotate up. So, you know, you take the positive risks, you hope they work out. You roll the dice and see what you get.
Yeah, and actually now that I'm looking towards this, to your point about the idea of not having the kit to lock him down.
My God.
Again, well, the best CC is death after all, as we are seeing that
very good stun.
very good stun up in the top lane. I'm wondering if maybe looking towards this, thinking of strong junglers right now, I wonder if something like an Elise might have potentially been a bit of a better pickup here than the J4. Just given also thinking the Cataclysm is not going to do a whole lot in these fights. This is not a team that's going to play hyper stacked up. You're not going to get massive value off that ultimate. Maybe that champion might have been a bit of a better pickup here, because we're not seeing the difference that J4 is making, is going to be able to make in this game. He is able to pick up the Rift Herald, so I got to give props to him on that. He is keeping the team even or ahead in terms of, actually very far ahead now in terms of these map objectives.
Oh my God.
We're seeing the gank going in underneath the turret. Lissandra's going to start that off, and that is a beautifully executed gank. Oh, and nicely done from K-Pulsar, surviving with the shield as well. The flash forward, keeping a flash fashion out of the bottom lane as well. Kaga is going to be able to get himself out. So, the University of San Francisco coming onto this, as I would say, the mild underdog. Now showing that they've got a bit more growl, a little bit more bite here in game number 1.
Yeah, that's a huge series of fights that go over to them. Spirit Tracks doesn't need to get super aggressive in this lane and win. He just needs to kind of farm up, stay alive, last until the mid game when the team fight power of the Aphelios comes online. And in the top lane, continuing to bully, Scott rewarded them with a very big kill shutting down the Graves. Putting a stop to Diamond Crevasse's free farming is huge.
It is, but speaking of free farming, that's just what we're seeing down in the bottom. As that Kalista and Turret combo, they feel completely unthreatened, even diving within inches of the turret. And this is the pressure that Diamond Crevasse has been able to exude all game long. You talked about his ability to just uncontestedly farm the opposing team's jungle, and we may see the congestion come in right now. There's the root, the follow-up, the CC is there. Beautifully overlaid, the chain dragging him right on down to the gray screen as the University of San Francisco with their 5th pickup there. What a solid play. The glacial path into the chains going on in from the Nautilus with that dredged line, and it was all over from there.
Pepperdine had a really cool rotate actually to set that play up to get Crevasse into the jungle. But they didn't really have a plan to get him out again. Oh my lord, this fight.
At some point, you think this Aatrox is going to stop doing this.
Ooh.
But today is not that day, TJ.
That massive burst of damage on the right hook there. K-Pulsar absolutely blows up the last third of Scott's HP. Very well played in that matchup again, and Scott is just playing very aggressive into this. The way an Aatrox wins this fight normally is just by outranging the Set and kind of kiting, poking in repeatedly, because Set lacks engaged tools apart from his ultimate and his E, the head smash. And the E itself is very, very short range. So normally, the way that matchup plays out is the Set really struggles to get into a fight. But when Scott's just repeatedly blowing his Infernal Chains to start fights and then going in and taking auto-attack battles, he is going to keep losing that.
Especially considering he's an 0-4 Aatrox, and that's a 4-0 set. It's,
He's doing it again.
Scotty doesn't know. He doesn't know that there's a set just sitting in behind
back?
him. Oh my goodness, that could be used. Oh, the chain. Wow. Dark and Blade.
And that's normally how that should play out, is you save the chain to make sure the Set can't just get at close range and mess your day up. But he's been blowing it at the start of these engagements, and I just don't agree with that. I'd also like to point out, though, the wisdom of this Aatrox pickup. It is very, very hard to blow an Aatrox completely out of lane. He's 0-4 and still trading up, still with the CS lead here on the top lane. And that's the power of Aatrox. It's very difficult to just end his relevancy. He's probably still going to scale enough into the mid lane that Scott's able to, you know, be present in fights. He's not going to be the teamfight Aatrox you might see in the LPL, but he is going to be an Aatrox who shows up and is present and can take a few hits.
And that's really what this team is going to need here. They're going to need to create some space to allow the Kalista to play, to jaunt around, create some space for the Graves to be able to weave those auto attacks in, and that additional distraction, the Jazz hands in the fight. Hey, look over here, might be enough space for them to make something happen, as we are seeing additional pressure coming in. This time it's up in the top lane with the charge from the Rift Herald. That is going to be this top turret going on down, and this might be Scott in a world of hurt, but Diamond Crevasse is here once again. Can they turn this around? The damage from the Set is there, but the TP going to be coming out the back of this, and that's going to be 3 members now rotating up top for Pepperdine, chasing down K-Pulsar, who has been going off so far this game, and now he's just going down. The shutdown, the rotation in from the Echo in the mid lane. Santo Massey is there at the perfect time, blowing both sums, but in that case, I think it's worth it.
Really slow rotate from Flow by comparison. No TP available, and they had no safety as a result. Becomes a 1v3 fight very, very quickly for University of San Francisco. They're going to try and get something back here.
We are seeing the Lissandra initiation, but the flashback over the wall for Diamond Crevasse, and that's all the damage in the wrong direction. The J4 ult's not going to do a whole lot for them here, and that's going to be the shutdown now. Back on over from the Aatrox, getting a little bit too greedy, staying a little bit too long, trying to have a hand in the cookie jar and getting it bitten off in this situation. University of San Francisco starting to bleed this lead a touch, TJ.
Beautifully played by Diamond Crevasse, applying the near sight to both players attempting to gank him and just backing away over the walls. There was no way for University of San Francisco to close that kill, and frankly, they should have known better than to try and chase a Graves with that many opponents around. Graves is not a quick kill. Even if you're Lissandra Jarvan, you are not going to be able to blow up a Graves quickly enough that the flank doesn't come through. I think they just felt like they'd sunk so much into that top lane, with the Rift Herald being blown, with them already losing K-Pulsar for it, that they felt like they had to get more. They had to get something positive out of the trading, and that just led to a very big mistake.
Yeah, again, this is a team that is... Oh, man. Yeah, this is a team that's in the lead from the University of San Francisco. They have, you know, they were up 6 kills to 1. Yeah, not anymore. It is now dead even in terms of gold, and in terms of scaling, yes, the Aphelios is going to offer a lot, but it's going to take a while to get there. The Lissandra is going to fall off, and this Graves is going to continue to scale and just wail on the hopes and dreams of the University of San Francisco. What we're seeing now in the bottom lane, trying to take down this Taric, but he is ever so tanky, blowing everything to stay alive there, but stay alive he does. The rotation from the Jarvan coming in from mid might spell a bigger team fight here.
Yeah, you also have Diamond Crevasse roaming down. This is going to be a full commit from UCSF, and with Evan Cakes already blowing his ulti, this gets dangerous.
We are seeing the Callista starting to stack this one up now. Potentially a lot of damage to this Nautilus, but damage on the Taric already inflicted might be enough to keep the University of San Francisco here, engaged, and in play. This is being scouted, though. They know the Lissandra is here. Taric can't back. They're just going to sack this turret. Oh, the play! Callista keeping her carrier, or keeping her support alive. That's, I mean, who's really the support at the end of the day here, TJ?
It's hard to tell, which is why that lane is so scary. I can tell you who the tank is, though. Evan Cake soaking so much there. Very good map awareness. Another slower rotate from Flow, but that time it pays off. Sure, they don't get the kill, but Flow's mere presence guarantees they get that turret down bot, and that is a gold injection for UCSF on the players that need it most. Spirit Tracks still needs to carry a lot of weight for this team.
He hasn't died yet, and that's huge. He hasn't been able to get a kill, which is, you know, but he's got his Infinity Edge done. He has his Greaves. So he's in a pretty good spot to continue to, or at least be a presence in these team fights a little bit more now. We'll keep an eye on that. Blade of the Ruined King already finished on the other side for the Callista. So the fight
to rush anti-heal into that Taric matchup, but he has completed the Executioner's Calling, so that's huge. Here's the TP just for the Drake fight. Flow having to get out.
Oh boy, Scott's going to be the one to try and go in, but there's the collapse from the University of San Francisco. Do they have enough damage? I think they do, but in a second it turns. Can they keep fighting through this? Yes, they are, but oh my goodness, Windchill is just trying to run on out, survive, but no, the triple kill, the full collapse, and the shutdown. The set was there at the perfect time, and this is the University of San Francisco looking solid in that team fight.
Very well played. That's just the ideal engagement. They keep everyone nailed down right in front while Spirit Tracks lays in the damage from the side of the fight. Flow has a field day against the tightly packed players around the Cataclysm inside the break pit. I mean, UCSF have a massive lead out of it. That's going to be 11-4 in the kill feed. The Ocean Drake in their pocket is very useful for a team that's going to have to match the Taric Callista duo. And they now have the gold lead back. It's minimal, it's about 3,000, but important for a team that was struggling to maintain that against Pepperdine's firm map control.
This is yeah, gold injection. You talked about it when you're talking about that turret in the bottom lane, but that's an even bigger one now. Just shooting up the stats for the side of the University of San Francisco in the mid, and this is big. This is what they needed at this point. Anything they can do to continue to ramp up this Aphelios, because he's decently behind in CS right now up against this Callista. Windchill has been looking really solid in the laning stage so far, but I'm looking towards Spirit Tracks. We've seen him play these consummate AD carries before in the past. We know he can do it. Aphelios, obviously a little bit more mechanically intensive, but if he is able to continue to be a presence in these fights with K-Pulsar being this really big threat, that's huge for them.
It's huge for them if he stays online.
Yes.
Kind of the mark I look for. Okay, I'll hold this. Is Scott maybe being bullied again?
That dredge line was absolutely massive, and we are seeing Scott trying to do something, anything to stay alive. But that Nautilus on the very last pixel that hook could possibly connect was able to land it, and the follow-up was there. Beautiful top lane. I mean, they're just rotating to trade lanes. But if you get a kill in the process, you're happy to take that.
Flow does get shut down here by Windchill, though. And that's what I was about to kind of get into. Windchill is still in this game.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing all right, and that's a duo that's going to be very scary no matter your game state.
Hard to ult when you're CC'd. Just as a fun fact.
Picks up Santa Massi and introduces his forehead to the ground. Oh my lord, they absolutely can do this. The bot lane for Pepperdine is so split. They're pushing bot in vision right now, which is why UCSF feel comfortable just burning this. They can get this Baron uncontested. They're trading 2 turrets in bottom for it, though.
You're going to need to make that back and then some with this Baron buff. I mean, I think both teams read that shot call beautifully. TP's coming in, though, from behind. Hang on.
2v2? I don't like this.
Yeah, I don't like this either because K-Pulsar is not in a fantastic position. That is the Lissandra ult being burned very early, and Windshield now needs to try and identify the priority target, and that's going to be the pickup there onto the mid, trying to do something. Now K-Pulsar may have bit off more than he can chew. The timing and not perfect and needing to be, but that is the first pickup there. And here we go. Can they get the follow-up? There it is, but right back over the Cataclysm. That's what I'm talking about. Windshield finally goes down. Okay, no. In that situation, it's worth it. You get the Baron. Yes, you give up your mid, but you take down the Callista. And in this game, that is massive. Great job from Pepperdine. Trade out elsewhere on the Rift, but still, University of San Francisco, they're looking pretty solid here.
I didn't like that initial 2v2, and I'll stick to that call.
Yeah.
Because Set Lissandra is not going to beat a Callista Taric 2v2 comfortably. Even if you do win, it's an unnecessary risk when you could just wait a couple more seconds and activate a 3v2, for instance. They eventually make it work. The trade positive does happen, but I will start to worry if it's indicative of UCSF feeling like they need to take more risks to complete this game and maybe getting a little bit dicey. I was about to talk items for the Aphelios. My kind of marker for when Aphelios comes online is Runan's Hurricane, which this Aphelios did just complete. Keep an eye on Spirit Tracks. This, to me, is the power spot. This, to me, is where Aphelios is going to be the most scary.
This is what I was talking about. You know, obviously, late game, Aphelios is terrifying. With that 2-3 item mark, that's really where things start to get interesting and be able to dish out a lot of damage in these team fights if he can stay alive. That is the big part of this. Obviously, with the Taric Callista combo, they're going to be working in tandem, in synergy, all throughout these fights and staying alive longer than they have any right to. We know that's going to be a thing. But Spirit Tracks, if he can match them, if he can keep pace with them, stay alive, continue to dish that damage, I'm feeling pretty good about this. But there's one factor we haven't talked a whole lot about, and it's Diamond Crevasse. He's been kind of quiet in this mid game. He could get loud.
We hyped him up, but he was... Oh, K-Pulsar. 1v2. Does have a rotate nearby.
Oh, the flash doesn't go over! Oh my goodness, you hate to see it because now the rest of the team is just going to leave him for dead. Nothing to do about that. Oh no, that was an escape.
He tried to ult over the wall. That went short, so he panic flashed. And he just ended up flashing into the cubby where the Krugs are stored.
Yikes. Not ideal.
You don't go into the Krug cubby.
You heard it here, folks, from TJ. Stay away from the Krug cubby. Also, stay away from Scott in the top lane now because you mentioned Aatrox is always going to be relevant. Burn an ult for that. Yes, please. I will take that visual prison anytime, any day of the week, good sir.
Completing death scans is a pretty big spike for Scott, and he's at the point where he's able to start being Aatrox again, which is a good sign for him. Here comes the pressure into mid lane. A misstretch line from Kaga will mean that Pepperdine don't get the fight I think they frankly kind of wanted. They were hoping Kaga would engage there. Spirit Tracks does enough damage now. I'm not sure how that turns out, but they were looking for something. They're starting to scrap the Pepperdine. I think, no, they have a very good skirmish comp. This Callista Taric will win a lot of fights if they can engage in a limited sense. If it is, you know, 2v2, 3v3.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. And, you know, you look at this, 7 to 15. You look at the turrets and you go, okay, that's fairly even. And you look at the gold and you think, wait a second, this is actually a very even game so far. The farming from Pepperdine has actually been really on point. We're hyping up, you know, where this Aphelios is getting in his build, and obviously you can't undervalue that, but Pepperdine doesn't feel as behind as they should be, and that's scaring me a little bit here, TJ.
Yeah, they're still very much in this game because their map rotations are frankly better than University of San Francisco, and it's just a little bit of inefficiency we're seeing across how they move, but it adds up. 2-3 CS here. Like this is inefficiency. Biggest jungle difference, thought he had a 2v1. Kaga roams down below this fight, and now they're split as the punish begins to come out from Pepperdine, and that could be a kill if you're a little more synced up.
Ooh, the flash burn from Flo in the bottom, but he is going to have to float like a butterfly, sting like okay, he's just going to die. No, that was another solid gank down in the bottom. This is the second time that Flo has been caught out too far ahead. Great job to the rest of the team to pick something up in the mid. But Flo's positioning, I don't want to feel like a bit of a broken record, TJ. We've harped on it a little bit, and it's coming back to bite him again here in this game. Luckily, the rest of the team is in a good position to make this work. Burning the flash with the ultimate, that's absolutely huge. Do they have enough damage left in the tank to get this one done? Because on the back of this, Diamond Crevasse is chasing this down, and now it's just a change of plans. It's escape. Live, no! My goodness, the shutdown going to the Echo of all people. That is not ideal. Spirit Tracks needed to not die there.
Kaga, what are you doing? He roams up to try and finalize the kill onto Scott, leaving his AD carry alone in the mid lane when they know that the vast majority of the enemy team was just bot. That's huge. That's just a massive throwaway. And now with the jungler dead, now with the ADC dead, there's nothing to stop Pepperdine from burning his Baron. And that is absolutely what they're about to do.
And like a gift from the Rift Gods, the Baron is summoned exactly when they want to take this down on cooldown. In fact, the rest of the team is going to try and rotate in and contest this, but Pepperdine is in a great position to lock this one up. Not even a chance. The Graves is there. The Smite is won. And that's Baron, the turn, the pickups, and now the gold lead for Pepperdine, TJ.
And this was all so unnecessary off of bad map rotations. Initially, as we started talking about it, University of San Francisco just lose focus in these critical moments, and you see it reflected by their positioning and by what that positioning gives up. Now they have to fight into a Baron. They shouldn't be fighting into a Baron. They should just be trying to play their time. At some point soon, if they can grab that Ocean Drake soul, this game is still theirs to lose.
Yes. Yes, and I mentioned that earlier. You know, looking where they were in terms of the lead, quote unquote, but I think the question mark is, when you give the team with the better rotations Baron buff, what can they do with it? They've already been able to...
Why is Flo split pushing on Lissandra?
He just got decent wave clear.
I don't like it in this matchup.
Yes.
Those are my thoughts.
Okay.
Here is an Ocean Drake up. Four players with Baron here for Pepperdine would like it. If UCSF can get this Aphelios engage right, it'll be a slaughter.
That's the big question mark. The ult does land to start things off. The Graydon's going to pick up the Drake, and oh my goodness, there we go. And that's the Aphelios gone to start this fight, which means it should be all Pepperdine. However, the University of San Francisco is holding strong through this. What is going on? Another disastrous fight here, as we see in the river this time. It is Pepperdine, though, going to look to try and close it out. Is K-Pulsers on the retreating path, and that might just be the ace.
K-Pulsers wandering through the jungle. The University of San Francisco only have 3 members to fight that. Then immediately, their carry is left alone. Spirit Tracks just railroaded into taking a 1v1 against a deep dive, and that's cost them the game.
Oh my goodness, no questions here. This is our game to win. Pepperdine with a decisive fight. They take the victory here in game number 1.